Hey, you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another TNI toy review. And today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends Spider-Man themed Doc Ock figure from Hasbro. Now this figure is part of the new Spider-Man themed SP//DR Build-A-Figure wave, and it comes packaged in the same style that we see with all the Marvel Legends. Up at the top you've got the Legends series logo, at the very top you've got that Spider-Man logo. The figure is clearly displayed in the window box. Down below you've got the Spider-Man title and the name of the character. On the sides of the packaging you just have artwork for Doc Ock, and then on the back of the packaging you have a look at the actual figure, a brief bio in multiple languages, and then down below a look at all the figures in the wave that you need to get in order to complete that SP//DR Build-A-Figure. Alright, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging along with the other contents. And finally, we have a modern version of the final member of the Sinister Six with Doc Ock here. Toy Biz gave us a couple different Doc Ocks back in the day, but we really haven't gotten a good updated version of the character in quite some time. Okay, now I should note that this is the only figure in this wave that does not have a Build-A-Figure piece. And the only accessories that this figure comes with are the 4 different arm tentacles, his octopus arms that you attach to the figure. So you get 4 of these, and you get some, this one is the longest of the bunch, and then you get some shorter ones. So each one is a little bit different size, it looks like. This one is, I think, the shortest. Actually, this one is probably the shortest by just a little bit. So these are the 2 shortest, and then this one is kind of a middle size, and then this one is the longer size. And each one has one of these clamps that you can pop in on the end. These are actually removable. They just connect with ball joints. So you do have a little bit of movement with those, and you can rotate these. However, the clamps themselves are not articulated, which is disappointing. It would have been nice if they had actually made these fingers kind of articulated, or at the very least had made them different shapes so that, you know, maybe some were more closed so you could actually grip onto things and hold them. As it is, they're all kind of posed in the same kind of open position, which again is kind of disappointing. Also, a little bit disappointing about these is the arms themselves do not have actual bendy wire in them, so they're pretty much stuck in these same poses. So while they are different lengths and everything, you know, and you can rotate them a little bit, you know, you plug this in the back of the figure, and so you can rotate there, and then again you can turn this here, and you can rock this a little bit. But, you know, if you try and bend it or anything, it's just going to go back into that same shape. It is a flexible, you know, material, but it's not actually bendy wire or anything. So, you know, there's not a whole lot you can do with these other than just put them in kind of the same position. Now, to put the arms on the figure, all you do is you've got the 4 holes on the back of the figure, and then each arm has a little peg, and you can put the arms in any of the 4 holes, so you can basically switch them up however you want. That's basically the way you pose these arms, is you just move them around on the different holes on his back. And again, some of the arms are taller and shorter, so you can match them up however you want. Now, while the octopus arms included with the new Hasbro figure are a bit disappointing on what is otherwise seems to be a pretty impressive figure, if you have an older Toy Biz Doc Ock, the one, I believe this was the first one that Toy Biz did, that has the circle holes on the back, then you've got these tentacles that are basically bendy wires, so you can bend them. I mean, this is what Hasbro really should have done with their arms. And then you also have the articulated claws, so, you know, the double whammy there. So Toy Biz really gave us a superior pair of arms, and you can actually make it work on this figure. So if you have that older Toy Biz one with those arms, you can actually take those and stick it on your new Hasbro one. So there is some hope for you if you've got access to those older arms. Now for the figure itself, so while the arms are a little disappointing on this, the figure is fantastic. I think Hasbro's done a great job with this one. It beats out both of the Toy Biz ones that I have, which I'll show you a comparison of in just a moment. But I really like the head sculpt with this one. He's got the gritting teeth, he's got the bowl cut hair, and he's got these kind of neon green sunglasses, with the dark lenses, so I think that's great. Now it almost looks like these are removable. They are actually a separate piece on the figure, so you can kind of lift them up off the eyes a little bit if you want to, but you can't actually take them off. They're, I guess, glued on by the ears or something. So I mean, if you really wanted to get them off, you probably could, and you probably do want to be a little careful, because I guess you could snap them off if you pulled too hard on them, but technically they're not meant to be removed. But I think they look good on the figure. The green on the glasses is a brighter color than the rest of the figure, but I think that's actually in keeping with the comics. His glasses have changed colors over the years, so I definitely like this look for him. And then he's wearing this jumpsuit, the green and yellow jumpsuit, which is his classic look, and he's sporting the big belly and everything. Doc Ock was never really in shape, known for being in shape. He definitely didn't have your typical supervillain physique, and I think this figure nails that 100%. As I mentioned before, you do have the holes on the back, so when you don't have the arms attached, you do have that, kind of sticks out a little bit, but not a big deal. And then, again, he's just wearing the yellow and the green, and not really much in the way of paint blemishes, which is good. The yellow is more of a kind of an orangey yellow, and like I said, sculpt wise, I mean, this looks straight out of the comic books, and I applaud Hasbro for doing a really good job with this figure. Now, one thing I just want to caution for those of you who like to take pictures of your action figures and such, the glasses on this figure, because they are a separate piece, do have a tendency to kind of lift up on the figure's face a bit. And when that happens, you can start to see the eyes underneath there. You don't really notice it when you're just looking at the figure with the naked eye, but when you start taking close-up shots like I've been doing with the figure, you'll definitely start to notice that you can see the eyes underneath the glasses, and that can look a little funny. So just be wary of that. Again, it's really only something you have to worry about if you're going to be taking a lot of pictures of your figure, but I just wanted to note that. And the lenses on the glasses are actually a very dark translucent plastic. You can actually, when you get it in the light, make out his eyes through the glasses. Okay, now Doc Ock here stands right about 6 1/4 inches tall, maybe a little bit under 6 1/4 inches. Okay, and here's a comparison with the two older Toy Biz Doc Ock figures that I have. So this is the original one they did in the single pack, and this, up until this new Hasbro figure was released, was my favorite version of the character. And then we've got this second one that Toy Biz did as part of a box set. I never really liked this figure as much. He does have the lab coat, which you can remove, which is good, but like his arms were not as good as the original. They still had bendy wire, but they did not have the articulated clamps. In fact, these clamps were very small, and they were done with just a soft rubber. So even though you had the bendy wire, you couldn't do a whole lot with these. So, and I just didn't like the look of this one. But this one was definitely a good figure, but I think this new one is far superior to either one of the older Toy Biz ones as far as overall look and everything. And if you're wondering, you can put that lab coat from the Toy Biz figure on this one. It's maybe a hair small, but it does actually fit. And the good thing about this lab coat is it's got the holes in the back so that you can still plug in the arms. Now, Toy Biz did a larger lab coat that they did with one of their Beast figures, which would actually probably fit on this figure a little bit better, but it doesn't have the holes on the back, so you'd either have to cut those yourself or not use the arms when he's wearing the lab coat. But again, technically, if you wanted to use this one that came with that Doc Ock figure in the box set from Toy Biz, you can fit it on the figure. Okay, and then for just a few other comparisons, here's a look at the more recent Spider-Man, Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure from Hasbro. This is the one that came in the San Diego Comic-Con Raft box set. It uses the pizza-eating Spider-Man mold, and you can see Spider-Man here is taller, as he should be, so the scale overall seems to be pretty good. Okay, and then finally, here's a comparison with Doc Ock's other original Sinister Six team members. So we've got Mysterio, Sandman, Vulture, Kraven, and Electro. And again, these are the original members of the Sinister Six. There have been others that have joined the group over the years, but these are the original 6. Now, I guess I misspoke a little bit when I said at the beginning of the video that Hasbro had finally delivered us a great updated version of the final member. And while technically Hasbro did give us a Vulture figure last year, it wasn't his classic look like this Toy Biz one. So Hasbro really still needs to give us that one. I think that's the Vulture that everybody wants. Now, this Toy Biz figure is a fantastic figure. The detail and everything on it is incredible, and it looks, it's going to be hard for Hasbro to beat this Toy Biz one, but technically they still have not provided that version of Vulture, which they really need to. Okay, so now for articulation with Doc Ock, you can turn his head to the left and to the right. The head is attached with a ball hinge joint, but he can only look down about that much. The way the neck is sculpted, he doesn't really have a whole lot of a neck there. And then he can only look up about that much as well. You get a little bit of head pivot with this one, but not a whole lot. Then with the arms, you can get the arm out good, and you've got good rotation there at the shoulder. He's got the bicep swivel. He's got a double hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow that much. And then you've got rotation with the hands, and you've got hinges there, so you've got up and down movement there. He's got a midsection joint, so he can rotate there at the midsection. He really, well, actually, he can crunch down decently, and you do get some gappage there in the back, so that looks a little funny. But he can actually crunch down a little bit there, and then he can look back pretty good as well. But again, you do get some gappage there at the midsection when you have him look back, so just be wary of that. You can also pivot to the left and the right there at that midsection. Does not have a waist swivel. With the legs, he can do the splits that much. He can get his leg forward good, and you can do the leg back about that much. You've got a thigh swivel. You've got a double jointed knee, so pretty good bending there at the knee. You do have a boot cuff swivel, and then with the feet, you've got hinges, so you've got up and down movement. And of course you do have ankle pivot with this one, and 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so for the figure itself, I think Hasbro did a fantastic job with this one. They nailed the look of Doc Ock from the comics. I love the sculpting detail, the paint applications are solid, and if you've been looking forward to a modern Doc Ock, I think Hasbro really delivered as far as the figure itself. However, the one drawback with this figure is the octopus arms are not bendy wire. They don't have any articulation on the clamps, and at the end, there's really not a whole lot you can do with them. You can't really have him walk on them very well. You can't have him pick up stuff very well with them, and that is definitely a bit on the disappointing side. Now the upside is, if you do have the older Toy Biz version with the arms that have the articulated clamps and bendy wire, you can actually fit it on this figure, and they do work nicely, so that's, you know, definitely an upside for those of you who have those older arms. But it would have been nice if Hasbro had maybe at least given us bendy wire with these arms. If they had done that, I would say this would have been a perfect figure. Now this figure, along with the rest of the wave, has started to see a limited release and should start seeing a greater release at the end of this month or early next month. We'll have a full image gallery up at marvelousnews.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment, let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel by hitting that button down below. I'd really appreciate it. You should also hit that bell notification so that you'll be alerted every time that I upload a new video. And of course, you can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch accounts. I have links to all of those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.